Hey everybody, and welcome to another Cricut Craft tutorial. Before we get started, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down below. I would love to have you as part of my crafty family here on YouTube. This video has been super anticipated by you guys and me. I've been dying to do it and I finally got time to, so I'm really excited to share with you guys how to create handwritten recipes into SVG files. There's a lot of ways to do this, but I've tried them all, and the easiest way I found was to use Procreate on an Apple device. Now, I have an Apple iPad and an Apple Pencil, so it's really easy to do it that way, but you can always use your finger as well. Now, I have created two different things with my recipes. I made this reusable gift bag from 143 vinyl. I thought this would be a really fun way to do a recipe. You could put any of the ingredients that you have in the little bag and give it as a gift. Or you could also make a cutting board. Now, I've done both of these with HTV, and I'm usually a person that says don't use HTV on wood, and I'm still pretty onto that. You do get quite a bit of adhesive leakage, and it's not exactly perfect, but for a gift, this is a really cool idea. And with such small lines and intricate cuts, HTV is the way to go for these. I got this cutting board at Target. Yes, at Target for, I think, $8 to $10, and it came with an extra little cutting board as well, so it's pretty inexpensive. The little gift sack is from 143 vinyl, but you can also do these on lots of things like flour sack towels, aprons. There's tons of stuff that you can do with these. Now, you're going to need a couple really important items to work with these. I highly recommend getting a pin pen. I'll link this down below. This is my favorite weeding tool. This makes such a difference when you're trying to weed, and it makes getting into those little crevices so much easier. You're going to want to use a good quality HTV. I recommend using StarCraft Soft Flex. You can also use Caesar Easy Weed. Those are both really great for this project, but there are definitely other brands that I would stick away from. The StarCraft Soft Flex that we're using in this video, I used for both products, and it's perfect. It works great, it looks great, and it's super easy to weed. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you guys how to do this on the iPad. I'm going to show you a couple different views of this. I'm going to show you how to import and all of that, and then I'm going to show you tracing. So what I do is I import my photo of the recipe into Procreate. Then what I do is I go up to these two squares, and I need to add a layer, and that's going to be the layer that you're going to write on. So make sure that layer is selected. And then I'm going to change my pencil. Now I use the sketching and the Nurander pencil, and then I just make it kind of medium depending on what size the writing is that the original writing is in. So if you see over here, you can adjust the size of your pencil. Then I just do a pinch and pull to expand and get zoomed in, and then you can just start tracing the person's handwriting. Now, this is going to take practice and a steady hand, but it so far has been the cleanest way that I have found to do this. I tried doing it with a couple other programs, and they just never came out quite the way I wanted them to. So this is kind of how I do it. Now, if you are somebody who doesn't have an Apple Pencil, I would highly recommend getting one. These are awesome. They are such lifesavers, especially for stuff like this. And you can just see I'm just tracing. And if I do something like that where I hate it and it's not quite close enough, you can just undo it and go back. So again, you can just trace, and you don't have to trace it by following their lines. You can go line by piece. Just make sure that everything is connected. So I'm going to show you some up close views of this as well on the actual iPad. I'm going to show you some screen grabs that I have of this, and then I'll also show you some of the overhead shot like this. This is just not the easiest thing to get video of to show you guys how to do this. And you don't have to do this in any particular order. You can do this however you want, and you can just take your time. It's all up to you how you trace, but this really has been the easiest way that I have found to do this. You just want to make sure that you get everything. So I'm going to zoom in out really quick so you guys can see. Oops, and I totally accidentally put a line. Put a line in it. So if you go up to your Layers tab and remove this layer, you can see that we have our traced image. So I'm going to go ahead and finish tracing this one out. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to save it. Once you've finished tracing, I always zoom out and just double check that I didn't miss anything, which I can see that I didn't. I'll show you guys. You can see it's all right there. So then this is why it's so important to have that other layer. So what you're going to do, go to your layers panel, remove the layer that has your words on it, and then remove the background layer as well, because this is going to make it a transparent cuttable file. Go ahead over here, go back to your gallery. Click select and select the one that you want to use. Click share, and you want to share this one as a PNG, and it's just going to export it and ask you where you want to share it to. I will just email it to myself. If you have CRICUT on your iPad, you can just do it right from here, but I don't, and I prefer to do CRICUT from my laptop. So I'm going to email it to myself, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like in Design Space. So once you have sent it to your email, or downloaded it into Design Space through the iPad, what I'll need to do is I'm going to upload mine because I did download mine through my email. So I'm just going to browse for it, and I know that I put it in my CRICUT folder, and then I have a folder that I just call Personal Designs, which is just stuff that I made for myself. So I know that this one is Untitled Artwork. So here is our PNG. Now we don't need to do anything to this, but I'm going to save it as a complex image. Click continue, and you won't need to clean up anything because there's no background on a PNG image. So click continue, and you want to save this as a cut image. So go ahead and select the one that says cut image under it, which is to your right, and click save. Now we can insert our image into our Design Space, and it might come up really, really big or really small. Sometimes I don't always have it the right size in Procreate. So I apologize that I'm not sure how to size things really, really well in Procreate, but I try. And then here is your design. I'll make it bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better, but you can see it all looks really nice and handwritten. This is going to cut a little bit jagged, but that's okay because it's handwriting. But I do recommend doing these on HTV because these jagged little lines and these weird little spaces are really hard for adhesive vinyl. Plus, these are really fun to do on flour sack towels and things like that. So we're going to make a flour sack towel with this. I'm going to go ahead and size this down a bit. I don't want it to be huge, but I also don't want it to be really tiny. But I find about 10 to 10.5 inches is a really good size for these. So I'm going to do it on about 10, a little over 10.5. What I'm going to do, though, is before I click Make It, I'm actually going to flip my design on my mat. That way I know that it's mirrored and I don't forget to mirror it after I hit Make It. I do this for all my HTV designs. That way I don't forget, and that way Design Space is less likely to accidentally not mirror my design. So all I'm going to do is select right here where it says Flip, and I'm going to flip it horizontally, and that will have it automatically mirrored, and it will cut backwards for us. So now I can click Make It, and we're going to cut this with StarCraft HD. I don't know what color yet. I'm going to look at my colors and see which one I like. So you can do these in any color that you want. Most people just use black, but I feel like being a little bit more colorful this time. So we'll do a different color. I'll take you guys over to the machine and let you guys watch it cut. And then I'm going to be honest, weeding these is not super easy, but I did find a couple ways that seem to help. So I'll show you guys a few of my little tips. Now that we've cut this, and they do take a little while to cut because there is so much, you do need to weed it. And I weeded a couple of them, and they were not super easy. But what I found really seemed to help was I would get a corner. And then have you ever heard of snap weeding, which is done with adhesive vinyl? I'm going to do something real similar with this HTV. So what I'm going to do is peel off as much of it over this way as I can. So I'm going to get a nice big section that doesn't have any of the HTV on it. So you're just going to peel kind of all this edge part so you have a decent part to grab. And it's okay if you get into some of the words, but you want to try not to do that. And then all you're going to do is grab it and go like this. And you're just going to rip real fast. And it's going to rip apart, and that's okay. We don't mind, because we're going to need to probably do this in a couple pieces. But you're going to rip it off just real quick. So you're just going to kind of pull and rip. You don't want to go slow with this. Every time I tried to go slow, it just pulled up letters. So this seemed to be like the easiest way for me to do it. Now, I can't promise this will work for everybody. I can't promise it's going to work for anybody. But it worked for me, and it really did make a difference. Now, if you're one of those people who wants to go slow, you do you. But this is what seemed to work best for me. So I'm going to finish weeding all of this. I don't want to make you guys sit here and watch this. And then we'll press this onto a flour sack towel, just because I think that'll be easy and fun. But you could do this on wood if you wanted to. Just keep in mind when you do this on wood that some of the adhesive might leak out. So that's something to keep in mind when doing this, that you want to just kind of keep that thought in the back of your head that whatever you're putting it on, fabric is best. So I would recommend an apron would be cool. A flour sack towel, a pillow could be fun, depending on what the recipe is. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and finish doing it my way. Again, this is just my way. If it doesn't work for you, please don't blame me. I just found this worked really, really well when I did my last couple. And so I'm just going to continue to do it this way. Because you can see, it seems to work. So I'm going to finish this up and then I'll show you guys how to press it. Now that I've got the whole thing weeded out, I had a really fun idea, so we're going to go with it. I think it would be a really fun way to give these as gifts, to put them on little gift bags. And these ones are from 143 Vinyl. This was the one that was included in the mystery box, but you can get them on 143 Vinyl. I'll link them below. They're really good quality, but I thought it would be a really fun idea to put the recipe on the bag and then fill the bag with the stuff you need to make the recipe, or maybe a gift card so they can purchase the stuff to make the recipe. But I thought this would just be a really fun Christmas gift and a really fun way to use the little recipe, and it's something that they can keep for years and years to come. So it's a really fun way to use this. You can also put these on things like flour sack towels. I've also done them on, another great idea is to put them on aprons, and then I also did one on a cutting board. So you can do lots of things with these, so don't feel like you can only put these on one or two things. You can do a lot with them and use your creativity to really make this a fun gift, a really personalized gift. So this is StarCraft Soft Flex, and we're going to press this at 285 for 8 to 10 seconds on a medium pressure, and it's a hot peel. I've got my heat press heating up, so we're almost ready to press. So our heat press is all ready to go, and you guys always ask, this is the StarCraft 15 by 15 clamshell mint heat press, and when you do any kind of heat pressing, you want to make sure that you have a barrier, and I have a Teflon sheet right here on my heat press. I hold that on with a set of magnets, that way I never forget. I also have this sitting on a pressing pillow, and I just wanted to make sure that the top right here where the drawstring is off of my pressing pillow. That way I'm making sure I'm getting a nice even pressure. So we're going to go ahead and press this again for about 8 to 10 seconds on a medium pressure. I have my heat press sitting on a Husky toolbox that I got from Home Depot. You guys always ask that as well, and I really love having this sitting on the toolbox. It's a nice sturdy surface. So now that this is pressed, all we simply have to do is peel, and it's good to go. I'll get you guys a really nice view of this over at the table. Here is the finished bag. I think this was a really fun way to use this, and I'm glad I remembered that I had this. I think it would be, again, a really fun idea to kind of fill this with either a gift card or some ingredients to make the awesome recipe that you put on the outside of it. You could also fill this with a really fun batch of your own homemade item that you made with the recipe. So there's lots of options. This is a fun way to reuse these bags over and over again, and I really love how this came out. Again, Procreate is about $10 from the Apple App Store, and it's easy to use once you play around with it for just a little bit. It may take a little getting used to, so don't fret if you are just struggling a little bit at the beginning. Play around with it and get used to it. I'm going to try to show you guys a couple other ways to do these in future videos, but this was really the fastest and easiest way that I have tried in all of my times doing these. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. Let me know if you guys have a favorite recipe that you have remember growing up and would love to have as a permanent fixture in your life. I hope you guys had so much fun learning how to make these handwritten recipes into a cutting file. I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.